Nate Barron.
I stay ready.
You stay ready?
I mean, I'm just like, okay. So, I mean, oh, now we're going. Oh, I've been going.
Nate Barron, how's it going, man?
Chad.
What's up? Welcome to the studio.
This fucking place is neat.
This is kind of my happy place. So this is where they say the magic happened. I was showing my buddy, Big Mike. You know Mike.
Yeah, McClanahan.
Yeah. And he's like, he said something that made a lot of sense to me. He goes, what was it like having a clean slate?
I know exactly what you're talking about. When I moved my apartment, I moved in last March of April 3rd last year. 100%. I've never had furniture. You know, it was adults, TV, a little bit of decorate, you know, art. I was like, I have a blank canvas. And I gave myself 3 months or so. And it was about three and a half months. And I was like, all right, I'm cool. I'm settled right now.
So you've brought up stand-up comedians a few times when we're 5 minutes into this.
Yeah.
But it's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on and wanted to talk to you because you are, what do you call yourself? Are you a practicing stand-up comedian? Are you a hobbyist?
I don't know, man, that's a tough one because I'm a hobbyist. If I break it down, essentially, but I'm a purist with it, you know, there's a love for it.
Where did that love come from?
I don't know. I remember Robin Williams and Jonathan Winters. Like, I loved it. Like, my mom she watched Carol Burnett's show. Love, you know, it's just like always comedy. And my mom and her friends, or her college friends, the sense of humor was very great. They grew up Catholic. They're all Catholic. They all have a very dry sense of all the siblings. So I don't know. Humor was always a thing that, you know, I was surrounded by, I guess. And I just took that. And probably that was my way to gel. That was my way to fit in. You know, I'll make you laugh, all that stuff. It wasn't a matter of like, I'm going to make a way to avoid bullies. I guess it was a way to avoid bullies in the sense of I'm going to be friends with you because you like me, because I'm going to make you laugh. I'm the guy, like, if fucking there's an apocalypse, hey, go into town and get someone, a clown who will make us laugh. Yeah. It's the only service I offer.
Yeah. So, I feel like in a lot of ways when I talk to a lot of interesting people and people that are interested in comedy or.
I like to laugh. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just natural. I don't see how someone isn't. I hear that all the time. Like, they're comedy fans. I'm like, who isn't a I mean, I never understand that. I get it. Totally 100% get it. It's kind of like who's a documentary fan? You know, it's just you know, it's just
It's hard to relate to people that's not into something like that. And I'm kind of with you. I don't know if I just expect that, you know, laughing's kind of fun. Why wouldn't you want to do a lot of it? And why wouldn't you want to do it more?
That's why the world evolves and advances, because of those people who are focused and driven. They're the Philip Seymour Hoffman in that movie Patch Adams. Remember that?
I do remember that.
I want to save lives. You want to make jokes.
Right.
It's not funny. That's my I don't even know if that's right, but I'm paraphrasing. And I don't even know if that sounds like Philip Seymour Hoffman. But yeah.
I see a lot of times too where comics aren't always the happiest of people. Not saying that this is.
Who is though? Everyone's fucked up. Everyone, you know what I mean? I always hear that one too. And I like what Seinfeld says. Like, Seinfeld had a perfect upbringing. He's like, you do not have to have tragedy. You don't have all that stuff. But I mean, yeah, it's a defense mechanism for sure. It's a deflection. It's definitely with me. It's definitely 100% validation. Definitely seeking attention and validation and wanting something. I mean, it doesn't feel like I do, but I know that's a root of it. But also, it's a purist part. I mean, I just love the game.
So I'm kind of interested in the cynicism of comedians and stand-up comics in particular, because I almost feel like when you are observing every single thing in your life and every single thing in the world, oftentimes that leads to real truths that might not be easy to come by. So when you observe and you're always constantly looking for bits and looking for humor in every subject and every situation that you're in, I think sometimes the real truth eventually kind of surfaces, and it's not always pretty.
It's a line I try to draw, a boundary there. Like, don't get too crazy in, like, because you're constantly overly analytical. You just walk. You're right. You're walking into just like, where's the bit? Where's the bit? Where's the bit? Where's the bit? My kid fell in the pond the other day. In my head, I'm like, this sucks. I'm pissed off, but there's a bit here. There's something here. I mean, but it's also in the introspectiveness part, the part where you're like, who am I? What is my voice? What am I saying? What am I trying to do? You know, how am I being authentic? That shit'll drive you fucking mad because, you know, you're playing the game of what's my purpose? Who am I? Yeah. What am I trying to say? You know, and then it's a fucking paradox. It's a paradox. It's like, you're supposed to let go, man. You're supposed to let, you know, this. And then at the same time, you're supposed to be like, I got control.
Yeah.
But what it is it's muscle memory. It's fucking repetition. To learn the craft, the time, all that. And then it's learning the rules and then breaking them, shattering. And then finding like it's like in music, you steal from the greats. You're going to fucking riff no matter what. I don't care if you say you're fucking, if you start, you're stealing essence from a comic somehow. You're mimicking something. Mm-hmm. You have to be. And then from that, you evolve out of that into your own. But finding that.
So it's a constant struggle. It's like
I'm pretty good about just shutting it off and being ignorant. Just like, because I'm pretty good about being like stoic and like, whatever. Now it is, what is happening right now is all that kind of matters and all that. And yeah, I don't know. And I don't know where it's going. I have no clue where it's going. It's not going anywhere. It's just me. I mean, in my head, I'm like, I just want to be good at it. I'm like, no, you don't, Nate. No, you don't. You want more than that.
Yeah,
obviously. I mean, that's such a fucking cop out. That's the fucking. Oh, of course you do. It's like that Kid Rock thing. What are you into music? What'd you do it for? I'm in for the music. Well, no shit. We're all into music. What else are you in it for? Yeah. Fucking drugs and girls.
Right.
I mean,
Well, people ask me sometimes why we do this podcast stuff and why we have studios, and I just have a creative bug that sometimes surfaces, and I just need a scratch that I need to itch.
Yeah.
So I don't have like illusions of grandeur that anything that I'm a part of would turn into Joe Rogan or anything like that. It's just I have a creative element in me, or at least I like to think so. So why not put it out there? Why not expose myself a little bit?
We're in that era, dude. I wish people say like, these kids. Kids don't know how good they could have. Like these fucking kids with their screens and blah, 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 blah. I wish we would have had all this shit when I was growing up. Like these, because I think everyone's realizing we all have that creative bug. All the different platforms and technology, and there's the reach. Whatever you want is out there to be into. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you want to fucking get into, you could. Just name it. There's a niche for it or whatever. It's like, it's funny. I mean,
and I agree. I would have loved to have all this at my fingertips as a teenager, because I'm not sure which path it would have led me down.
Dude, it's gonna be a game changer here and there with the accessibility to information and how it is. It's a game changer because we don't need school. Public school, ultimately, like, what are we doing with these schools now? I can just fucking sit at home and this is what I want to do. No one ever told me I was a shithead growing up. I was back to the humor thing. Yeah, I was always funny. I think, but a lot of times I wasn't. A lot of times I was a little immature, a little fucking annoying shithead that just got in trouble. So I forgot where I was going with that.
Welcome to the barn, buddy. Here we are.
No, I was going. Yeah. I was going somewhere, but.
So when I walked into the barn and it was a clean slate, I was excited.
Good call, man.
I was excited, but I was also felt so big, the task at hand to make it exactly how I wanted it, that it was actually hard to start. And I think that is sort of a metaphor for life in a lot of ways.
The choice to not making a choice is the choice.
Yes. It's sometimes the easiest choice.
Oh, 100%. It's the comfort. You get to stay in that comfort zone. You don't have to be challenged. You don't have to worry about being wrong or right. It's just like, yeah.
And being vulnerable in front of people and putting yourself out there. And I think that kind of correlates. I know it's like a huge metaphor that we're going for here, but I think that kind of correlates a little bit with stand-up comedy, because I can't think of where you are possibly the most vulnerable than standing up in a room full of people, strangers most likely, and you're there to make them laugh. They took off work on that Saturday or whatever day it is, and you're part of their time. You're part of their weekend, and they're there for a reason, and you're supposed to supply that.
Sure, but I think we take that way too serious a little bit. I get it. I mean, it's
looking too deep into it, I guess?
No, it's not. It's not, because it is definitely a factor, and definitely people. What the number one fear is to speaking in public, and number two fear is death. So the person would rather be in the coffin than be giving the eulogy or whatever Seinfeld joke. But like I said, no one's rooting for you to fail. There has to be an acceptance. Like, no one gives a shit. It's all ego. It's ego. Like, you being scared. Yes, I understand you're scared. Why? I mean, it's just you telling yourself, like, you don't matter that much. I mean, you're special and you're cool, but we're not reinventing the wheel here. We're not.
But people like to think they are. And I think it probably comes from insecurity, You don't want to look dumb. You don't want to not be funny. You don't want to bomb. But I think it's also interesting.
You learn that that's how I get good, is by bombing into those scenarios, though, too. If you're doing stand up, like I at it, you're grinding. You're gonna a bomb doesn't phase you. A bomb sucks. It's fucking horrible. Maybe I'm at an age where I'm just like, all right, well, I bombed or whatever. I try to get on stage and fucking tell a joke about my scoliosis for 5 minutes or whatever. What else would I've been doing with this night? But in your head, you are 100% your last set. If I killed Friday night and I come back Saturday night and I bomb Friday, I don't even remember Friday.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably a mature aspect to it. And I'm sure your age and when you actually started practicing it. And I'm sure if you were starting out and you were in the 20 somethings, early 20s, it might be a lot different than that. I'm sure you could probably be overcritical, overanalyze.
At first, but again, back to the grinding. If you're doing it, if you're learning it, you learn the game, the craft, or whatever you want to call it. You accept it. Yeah, you're accepting that part. Like but then you get to be like, at least I'm just putting in my time. Me, what am I? I'm 39. If I was 21, I'd be like, I'm not. If I was 21, these 21-year-olds, they're learning the craft. Whatever they say about like a 19, 20, whatever kid, they have no opinion or point of view, whatever. Well, be that as it may, whatever that kid's doing, he's still honing that craft of writing a joke. Mm-hmm. So by the time he has life and some wisdom under his belt, guess what he's got? He's got he's got joke writing skills. Yeah. And now you get people who up there who try to tell stories. You learn to write jokes. Now I can, that's what I do. That's all a story is. It's just a bunch of one-liners.
Do you think a 21-year-old would actually feel more pressure than maybe somebody who's 39 or closing in on 40?
Maybe more competitive, but they also, I don't know, cocky. Kids are cocky. A lot of the guys, now I'm thinking about it, a lot of those fucking kids, a lot of those bullet guys up there, they're all cocky little assholes.
Do you think that helps or hurts?
I think it's whatever you want to do. There are no rules.
So it's a very fluid kind of craft. It's a very fluid type of creativity or type of artistry.
It's like you're a baseball pitcher. You're just you're just shooting free throws all day, and you're just learning this skill, this craft. Yeah. And yes, it's an art. It definitely for sure is art, and it's definitely creative because but.
When we talk about bombs, one of the first stand-up comedians that comes to my mind, and I think you're a fan as well because we've talked about it before, is Norm Macdonald.
Hey.
And Norm Macdonald, actually, it's been rumored, and I think he might have even said it in some interviews, that he didn't mind bombing. He almost enjoyed bombing in a way.
That guy was fucked up, crazy, smart, on a whole other level. Yeah. It's all like... It's like game theory. It's fine. He's poker play. He's literally he's a poker player. He thinks you think he's bluffing. So he knows that you think that he thinks that he's able to keep going with that on that game theory level. And he's fucking meta. And I have no clue. And I love him because sometimes it's just stupid and wacky. And it's all the joke. It's all wrapped around the joke. Whatever it is, it's all joke. That's the objective. That's the priority is the joke. Like Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle, every time he's talking, you want to listen. And you listen, you hang on every word, and it sounds poignant, profound, and it's like, he's making a fucking point, he's making a message, and then he comes at you with and then he grabbed you by the pussy.
Right.
He always ends it with something wacky. I mean,
it's the second time I met OJ.
Yeah. Bitch, you trying to get us killed? It always ends with a funny, wacky joke because they're jokesmen. At the end of the day, they're not trying to spread a message. They're not trying to. I mean, of course, they have their voice and they're hoping that seeps out. But at the same time, I'm just here to make you laugh, guys. I'm trying to take your mind off of you. Just like you said, you took an hour out of your life. You got babysitters. You paid fucking blah blah blah. You paid drove. I'm just trying to take your mind off of whatever it is going on for an hour of your life. That's it. That's my job, and that's all I want to do is make you laugh.
Yeah. So when I think about Norm, he's noted on record as saying his favorite stand-up ever was Rodney Dangerfield, who is the joke writer, right? He is one of on the Mount Rushmore of writing jokes. He's probably
100%. 100. I mean, and stand-up too. Yeah, that dude. He's God. So
when you're talking about that makes a lot of sense to me because Norm could take you here, there, and everywhere, and you would follow him down this crazy path. And I'm thinking about the moth joke on Conan and several similar jokes to that, where you're going here, there, and everywhere, but ultimately it comes back to the joke.
I bet he would come out and bomb intentionally and know, watch, I'm gonna go out there and just be bad. And they're gonna fucking still laugh. Yeah. Because they're fucking, that's what they do. They're gonna laugh at me. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna tell them, man, what the fuck is this shit? I don't wanna do this. I don't know. That's the best normal you can do. Like, they say about gambling, it's a disease. It's the only disease you're going to win a bunch of money at.
Yeah. If we're talking personal favorites, he's got to be up there for me. I saw him one time, and half the set was him going on these rambling stories where you had no idea where it was going. And at the very end would come the punchline, and some people loved it. And like me in the crowd, and I'm losing my shit. But then some people like looking for the exit.
Did you laugh? Was it really funny?
Oh my gosh.
Because there's been times where I've laughed my ass off at comics before, and I'm like, I wonder if I'm laughing my ass off at because I love this man in person so much that, it's like Louis. It's like Louis. Like a lot of this, when comics get real huge, they miss that element of not having an audience, having to work and know, like, I don't know if this joke's really that fun. Are you laughing because I'm Louis C.K. or are you laughing because this is a genuinely funny joke?
So the type of humor that always kind of got me is the one where sometimes the audience is the joke. Sometimes the presentation is the joke.
Almost it's not anti-comedy. It's by any means because they're fucking brilliant. It's Andy Kaufman. It's just like, yeah, it's just,
And that's...
Or is it?
Right.
Or is it?
Or
That's
is it his alter
problem.
ego?
I don't fucking know. I don't know if Eric Andre is funny sometimes. I don't know if he's not. I don't know if Tim and Eric are funny sometimes. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't think that was supposed to be funny. I think that's why. I think it's someone trying to fuck with me. But that's funny. That's the irony we're putting on it, though.
And that's kind of what I'm talking about, where you might be the joke. Like if you're looking around laughing, and they kind of talk about this in the business world. Like if you're looking around to see who's being sold the product, you're being sold the product.
If you walk to a poker game and play for 30 minutes, you haven't spotted the fish. You're the fish.
Right, exactly. Same idea, right? If you're not able to recognize it and see what's happening, then it's probably the joke's on you. And I always kind of like that. And I always respected that in a way. And that's why Norm was one of my favorites. Andy Kaufman was ahead of my time, really. I was probably too young.
He was ahead of everyone's time.
But the idea of Andy Kaufman, I absolutely love. And those old clips, I absolutely love. And I think I would have liked to think if I was old enough to fully experience it, that I would have got the joke and been one of those laughing. But, I'm not sure.
I think I would have been annoyed.
Maybe.
I want to hear jokes. I love Andy Kaufman, and I love performers, and I love entertainers. And stand-up has no rules, no boundaries. But I want to hear jokes. Yeah. I'm old school. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I love it. I love every form of comedy. I love all those.
And that might be the difference between somebody who actually has stand-up comedian experience, stand-up comedy experience.
But they all do. It's all in the science is still in there. They're still doing the same structure, but just in a different voice.
But like you might appreciate something different about a stand-up set than I would. I might be 100%. Looking, you might be maybe overcritical of what the stand-up did or the presentation or the routine or the bits or whatever, where I might get something completely different out of it because we're coming from two different perspectives.
That's comedy. Human subjective. Comedy. It's so subjective.
It's like me going to see a guitar player. I'm not good, but I play guitar.
Right.
But
100%.
when I'm watching a guitar player, I probably see it a little bit different than somebody who doesn't.
We can listen to a song and we're told take it totally different ways, and we're not wrong.
Right. It's perspective.
It's 100% perspective. I mean, it's so subjective. It's so that's why it's like there's the rules. I'm like, there are no rules because what you think you can't say that isn't funny. What drives me fucking nuts. And it's not even fucking people like who get offended, but whatever. It's the hypocrisy of everybody. Like you can't say like this isn't right, but this is like those rules or whatever. I'm like, it's so subjective because someone's going to be entertained by that. Mm-hmm. Somebody, it's not for you.
In the arts and the creative world,
you're going to get something out of something different. Your Coca-Cola is going to taste different than my Coca-Cola.
Yeah, and I don't know what your Coca-Cola tastes like. That's the other thing, too. I don't know what the world looks like through your eyes. I only know my perspective.
It's that.
So a joke that might resonate with me that, we have this in common having kids, but, maybe our jobs are different, right? And somebody tells a joke about something that's similar to my job. It might not hit home with you, because your job's different from my job. Or your upbringing is different from my upbringing or whatever it might be. Or maybe your race is different from mine.
But do you think on a certain level, on a certain intelligence level, I can get the idea and get the But relatability it's a factor. It's a factor. But that's what I'm saying. Like you see things different than I do. I mean,
absolutely. And I think comedy is universal. So there's always going to be those. Everybody knows what pain feels like. Everybody knows, hopefully, what being in love feels like and the heartbreak. So like the main elements that you hear a lot about in comedy, perspectives might be different, but that same type feeling is probably universal.
I think everyone should put themselves in a situation or find something that ultimately does it to you, whether it be a bowling league or gin rummy night, backgammon, or board game night, or whatever it is. I mean, something or jujitsu, so anything, or where you're putting yourself out there. How about this? Just for something to do, just to fuck or something to do. You ain't got nothing else going on.
Yeah.
Because I mean, find something, and fucking just let it consume you a little bit, and just see what happens. And if you don't like, then move on to the next fucking thing.
Absolutely. So this has been Talking Comedy with Nate and Chad. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next time.
Hey, I'm Nate. God bless.